severe on everyone you meet. They come on the screen, they give their lives. We are the people.
Oh shit. Ladies and gentlemen, feds and degenerates, cuckolds of all ages, it's time for Mild's Culture Plate. I am your host, Mild Kevin Miles, and we have feedback of some sort. Hang on. Is that fix it? No, I'm still hearing a fucking echo. What the hell? Well, that's not going to work. Testing. Check 1, 2. I've got literally everything muted. I've got the reverb turned off. What in the hell? Hang on. Testing. Testing. Check 1, 2. Hey, it's working fine now. I just needed to restart my damn mixer. Okay. So yeah, welcome to Mild's Culture Plate. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late, folks. I've been trying to get things working on my screen. As you can see, we're testing a new chat feature this week. I still haven't figured out how to get it to work right. So come on in, say hello in the chat. Help me test this damn thing. Say hello, get your toast. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to be getting right into the news. I don't think I have any show notes. Monday was kind of a crazy show. wasn't my best work, but hey, we did what we did. We talked about the loneliness of men and how dangerous it is for society. I got a little too deep. But we're going to be talking a lot today about the economy. We're going to be talking about Trump's wins, Trump's losses a little bit, and we're going to be talking about some other things. First off, I guess there is a show note, one show note. We have a video I meant to play on my Saturday show. And in fact, I even originally titled the stream based on the video, and I totally excuse me, somehow just totally missed the news story, totally skipped the tab somehow. Not sure how it happened, but I usually have my tabs all in a row. I kind of was searching for something else. Somehow the tab either got closed or moved, and then we forgot to cover it. Oh, look, I don't have my front facing lights turned on. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and get into that now because last week Dr. Phil interviewed transgender activist Blossom. And there were some interesting claims being made on both sides of this debate. Let's go ahead and hear that now. And yes, I know you can't hear it. Hang on. Let's do this. I think you can hear it now, right? Oh, look at that. He got a graph. He brought the graph. He brought the receipts. And you can't hear the video. You can't hear the video. Dear Lord. Okay. And my chat's not working. That's great. Thank you, Silent over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. I swear, this is the exact same setup I've been using for my gaming streams, and it's working okay. And then now, it's like I did 2 tests. You can see them on the screen. 2 tests of my chat before I went live. And now that I'm live, the chat overlay is not working. Literally, the chat overlay is not working while I'm live streaming. So yeah, cheers and welcome to Silent. I'm going to go ahead and, I guess, use Rumble Studio the way I usually do here and do away with the OBS overlays that I've been using. All right, we'll do away with that. And what the heck? I still have that turned on. Hang on. Where's the Ninja Chat? Go away, Ninja Chat. There we go. Okay. There we go. Now we got the chats on the screen. We got the user counter on the screen. So hopefully you folks will be able to hear me now, and I'll just use Rumble Studio presentation mode and for our news stories today. So we'll do that. Here we go. Rumble Studio, Dr. Phil podcast, Here he is talking
When
to
you look at the science,
Blossom.
and listen, it's not a matter of opinion. If you look at the science, the male advantage over females,
By the way, I'll definitely go until 7:10. I'll try to get over the extra 10 minutes from all the
there
flustered
are functional differences
technical
between
difficulties.
biological men and biological women. Men have 57% better grip strength. They have 54% better quad strength. They have 89% more bicep strength. They have 90% more upper body strength. They have 33%
These
higher
things
vertical
aren't
jumps. They have
disputed by
162%
scientists.
more punching power. If you get into specific sports activities in terms of running and swimming events, in running, they tend to be 12% faster overall. When you translate this into races, if you have a 12% difference between overall trans athletes, here are some examples to demonstrate the male sports performance advantage over a woman. A man would finish a 3,000 meter track race about a minute faster. A 100-meter swim, a man would be about 5.7 seconds faster. A 200-meter swim, about 11.5
I mean,
seconds faster.
he's
A
just
800-meter
jumping
swim, a minute
a
faster. So
mountain.
when you look at those things, these are races that are usually determined by tenths or hundredths of a second. So how do you
at him
answer
shake his
that,
head.
Blossom?
Absolutely. Respectfully, Dr. Phil, I'm going to need you to have several seats. Let's be clear.
Have
Trans women,
several seats.
again, are women. What you're showing me are male statistics, and trans women are not males. Everything that I said can actually be proven. It's scientifically proven.
Excuse me? You can have a couple surgeries and just or take a couple hormones and just not be who you were. That's not how things work.
Proven, because again, it's almost like you're trying to call trans women men, and that is not what trans women are. Trans women work just as hard as cis women to compete. And when we talk about
by the way, that's a slur. That's a slur. You shouldn't be using that word.
On density levels, again, there are some women who are stronger and have faster agility than trans women.
God.
It is a case-by-case basis. I don't know why you're trying.
Pareto, right? We're talking about the Pareto. We're talking about the exception proves the rule. Yes, there are some women with crazy bone density. But those aren't who we're creating sports leagues for. Those aren't the people who we want competing in college athletics.
Trying to group a group of trans people into one ideology that is false. It sounds like conservative propaganda. And I think you have drunk the Kool-Aid and have gotten lost in the sauce. I'm sorry, Dr.
Lost in the sauce.
I disagree with you. And I think that the statistics that you've shown me prove nothing when it comes to trans women. Get up there and show me statistics specifically with trans women and cis women, and then we can revisit this conversation. Otherwise, I think you're being biased. I think that it is baloney and propaganda, and I think it needs to be fixed.
Okay, and this clip came, and another story I didn't really cover on my Saturday show was in the UK. There was a pool tournament, billiards pool, where the last two competitors in the tournament were transgenders. And I saw this take on X, all over X, that was essentially show me where men have an advantage in billiards. We have giant hands for the most part. Like, we have large hands. I mean, you wouldn't think of it, right? The dexterity issues in billiards, holding a pool stick. having a longer reach, these traits that males tend to, you notice I say tend to have more than women. Hey, we got Still Not Banned here over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. Good seeing you. You wouldn't think they're that big of advantages, but the statistics have shown. Like somebody on X actually posted the points acquired in like the top 20 men and the top 20 women, in billiards in the world. And the differences were dramatic. And so this idea that she's saying, well, you're not comparing cis women to trans women. Well, no, but we have enough of a sample size when trans women have competed against women, or transgenders have competed against women, that they have experienced unfair advantages for all the reasons Dr. Phil was laying out there. And Blossom, if anybody's lost in the sauce, I mean, just look at this. Look at this individual. If anyone's lost in the sauce, you're lost in your hormones. Oh, shit. Anyway, so let's move on over to the New York Post. Hopefully Shut Up I Can Cook is in the background over there on YouTube. It says 0 YouTube viewers, so probably not. But this one's a story she'd love. This is an exclusive opinion piece over on the New York Post. Let's bring this up here. I attended orgasm camp in Joshua Tree, and here's what I learned about great sex. 6 p.m. on a Sunday, and I emerged from a wild weekend where I listened to strangers orgasm beside me and watched a live anatomy exam, got tied up with ropes while a man growled in my ear and had a nude body decorated with crystals, fruit, and flowers, and watched someone get very hands-on with a woman, if you know what I mean. Spent the weekend at a 3-day orgasm retreat, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Back to the Body caters only to women who shell out upwards of $15,000 to learn how to orgasm at its retreats, this one deep in the California desert. I can't tell you the exact location because organizers are serious about privacy, and surprisingly, so am I now. Far more than I thought I would be when I first found out I'd been accepted to attend. $15,000 to orgasm, naturally I had questions. Who's forking over that kind of cash to find the big O? I was prepared to scoff. I mean, I've got a $50 vibrator that gets the job done efficiently. But I was wrong. So very wrong. I passed on the $15,000 7-day retreat overseas and settled for the 3-day $750 introductory one. If that was the starter, I can't imagine what would happen at the Big Kahuna. This wasn't just an orgasm retreat. It was a full-blown sexual awakening, not just for me, but for 16 other women there. They weren't all exhibitionists like I assumed. These were women from all walks of life, all different ages, and with one shared desire to feel sexual again. Newsflash, despite the ongoing narrative, women don't just wake up one day and go, yep, that'll do. We crave sex. We miss it when it's gone. But sometimes, due to age, life circumstances, or plummeting hormone levels, we lose the tools and confidence to find our way back to it. Thankfully, this retreat offered one hell of a roadmap. So these are post-wall women who can't just pick up men at a bar. These are not the kind of women you would want to help find these orgasms, apparently. So this is second from right. This is this lady and her team. This is the mastermind behind this, Pamela Madison, the erotic genius. Oh, this is her as well. Oh no, not good. Pamela Madison, self-proclaimed erotic genius, and her team at Back to the Body promise certified somatic sex educators, erotic play, hands-on workshops, tantric medications, and even live demonstrations. Teasing, receiving, shows and tells, fantasy enactments, rope play, and a decadent meal in between. It was like the sex ed class of a horny teenager's dream, or in this case, a suburban mom's. It's a women-only retreat, except for one glorious exception. Court Vox, a male practitioner who you'll hear more about soon. He earns his place. So yeah, one dude allowed. Okay, let me get my soundboard going because we might need some soundboard sounds here. Okay. Welcome to the Pleasure Hub. It all kicked off Friday afternoon when I pulled up a dusty desert road to a stunning retreat nestled among cacti. Okay, let me jump a little further here. I didn't expect my first sexual moment to come from a plate of meat and cheese. After dinner, we gathered in the temple, a cozy room lined with cushions, and shared our reasons for being there. I won't betray anyone's privacy, but let's just say these women weren't there for kicks. Many were healing from trauma. Some haven't felt sexual in decades. It was raw, it was bonding, and it set the tone. The next day, the sensuality ramped up. One early exercise was the lotus lift. We sat back to back with a partner, one hand on our chest, the other cupping our vulva, swaying in sync. We answered three big questions. Who am I? What do I want? What's getting in my way? I'll admit I've never spoken to my vulva before, but with Pamela's calming voice and the right music, I felt tingles, real ones. This was an exotic ritual, yes, but also a deeply emotional one. I've let go about my hang-ups about cellulite and wobbly bits. I just stopped overthinking. I felt, oh Lord, I've gone woo-woo, and I'm surprisingly not mad about it. Pamela called the room a pleasure hub, and weirdly it was. A room full of women, tapping into the desire without shame or societal pressure. Powerful stuff. She reminded us that our vulvas are wired for pleasure. In fact, they're filled with serotonin, dopamine, and the works. And I have 10,000 nerve endings in the clitoris alone. We ought to put them to better use. You could feel the energy shift. There was buzz in the air. How long is this fucking... Oh my God, I'm not even halfway through it. Anyway, you get the fucking point. You got this relationships journalist. Sangland 86. Cheers and welcome. Is that Jack Murphy? Hang on, I gotta hear about the dude. Is this an integrated ad? Probably. Yeah, this is probably, they're probably getting paid to do this. In fact, that's probably why she only paid $750 for the... I gotta hear about the dude. I mean, I'm assuming this is just the dude here. I think, okay, yeah, I don't see... Pamela later explained the retreat is designed to demystify what is on offer for us in the sexual world, whether that be spanking, ropes, or edging. We don't know what we like until we experience it. And then she says, oh, I like ropes. And this is her. This is the article's author. Anyway, I've had enough of this shit. Anyway, let's do this. Let's do this here. Where is my... Where's the sound I'm looking for? Yeah, here we go. Okay, there we go. And anyway, so welcome to Sangland. And then let's do... let's give Still Not Banned here the Russian music. I'm assuming y'all can hear that, but I don't know because my mixer's not working right. So if you can't hear that, let me know. All right, let's do this. Kidnapping and conspiracy charges are dropped against college student in a catch the predator fad. A judge has dismissed conspiracy and kidnapping charges against 5 Massachusetts college students who were accused of plotting to lure a man to their campus through a dating app and then seizing him as part of a catch the predator trend on social media. The Assumption University students, all teenagers, were arraigned in January and entered not guilty pleas. Since then, their lawyers have filed motions seeking to dismiss the charges, saying authorities lacked probable cause to believe they committed crimes. Following a hearing last month, a Worcester District Court judge on Tuesday dismissed the conspiracy and kidnapping charges against Kelsey Brainerd, Easton Randall, Kevin Carroll, Isabella Trudeau, and Joaquin Smith. It wasn't immediately known if charges were still pending against a 6th student whose case was being handled in juvenile court. Police say Brainard's Tinder account was used to lure the man to a private Roman Catholic university in Worcester last October, and that the encounter was caught on video. Brainard still faces charges of witness intimidation, and Carroll faces a charge of assault with battery with a dangerous weapon. We are grateful that the court, after a fair hearing and due consideration, applied the law properly. Brainard's lawyer, Christopher Todd, said in an email on Wednesday, "No decisions have been made about our path to resolution to the remaining count." A message seeking comment was emailed to Carroll's lawyer. The Assumption University Police Department, quote, fulfilled its duty as an accredited law enforcement agency by filing charges describing the facts of the incident and the elements of a crime under Massachusetts law, University spokesperson Matt McDermott said in an email. The district attorney accepted and prosecuted those charges. All the charges in the case, including those that remain in place, are within purview of the judicial system to resolve. Shut Up, I Can Cook says blah, 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 blah. Well, you weren't here for the previous story, were you? You missed out. The district attorney office's rules of professional conduct preclude it from commenting, as there are still pending cases in the matter, spokesperson Lindsay Corin said in an email. Cheers and welcome, by the way, Cookie. Cookie says, cheers, Mild. Can you show the hair? I mean, the hair's on screen. My hair's right here. A report filed by campus police said the 22-year-old active duty military service member connected with a woman on Tinder in October and was invited inside a basement lounge. Within minutes, a group of people came out of nowhere and started calling him a pedophile, accusing him of wanting sex with 17-year-old girls, according to the report. The man told police that he broke free and was chased by at least 25 people to his car, where he was punched in the head and his car door was slammed on him before he managed to flee. Surveillance video shows a group of students, including the woman, all with their cell phones out, in what seems to be a recording of the whole episode. The police statement said they're seen laughing and high-fiving each other in what appeared to be a deliberately staged event, and there was no evidence to indicate the man was seeking relations with girls, the police report said. Todd's motion to dismiss said the video does not show anyone making an active effort to restrain the man, and that Brainard stays on the couch in the lounge after he leaves. Said it was insufficient evidence to show that, quote, she was willing to assist in the kidnapping. Todd also said there was no evidence of a plan to hold the man against his will. Todd said a review of the conversation on the Tinder app shows the woman says she is 17, soon to turn 18. The man says, fine, you're in college. So he's a predator. Randall told officers they were inspired by the catch a predator trend, which he said is big on TikTok. He said their group shared ideas of what to tell the man through the Tinder app to lure him to campus, and then spread word through the dormitory chat group that a predator was in the building, the report said. After the assault, Brainard reported the man to the police as a sexual predator, police said, which they determined to be false. Well, if he was trying to hook up with a 17-year-old, then he was a pervert. How old was the guy? Hang on, 22. He was 22. I don't know. 5-year difference. It's within, I think that's within the allowable. I mean, you can't just say, I don't know. I don't know about that one, y'all. I can't necessarily call him a pervert. Okay, so they're debating a new bill in Florida. We're going to be talking a lot about labor markets on this show, by the way. And as such, let's go ahead and get started with Florida. We got this from the USA Today. Some workers in Florida could get paid less than minimum wage under a new bill in the Florida legislature. Those who work in apprenticeship, internship, or work-study programs in Florida could be paid less than minimum wage under legislation that cleared a Senate panel last week. The bill, SB 676, would allow employees to check a box when applying for a job, allowing them to be paid less than Florida's current $13 per hour. An amendment to the bill added in the Senate Commerce and Tourism Committee would require the parent or guardian of a worker under age 18 to approve the sub-minimum wage pay. Because minimum wage was so high, I saw a lot of young students, teenagers, missing out on opportunities like we had, State Senator Jonathan Martin, who is sponsoring the bill. The bill passed 4-3 on a party line vote. Democrats on the panel questioned the need for legislation and whether it would allow companies to abuse the law by labeling all entry-level jobs as apprenticeships or internships. Quote, "How do we stop companies from exploiting this particular idea?" said Democrat Tracy Davis of Jacksonville. She cited grocery baggers at Publix as an example of those who could be exploited. Martin said the entire program is optional for the employees. It would be self-regulating. The employee could quit. They wouldn't have to sign this, Martin said, noting that a worker could leave after a few months with the skills they gained on the job to get a better paying one somewhere else too. It's giving them the ability to then become competitive. It's not the first time Martin's pushed a bill to undercut minimum wage. In 2023, he sponsored a law signed by DeSantis carving out minor league baseball players from minimum wage laws. Major League Baseball owners unanimously approved a collective bargaining agreement that year to pay minor league players more money. Underlying the minimum wage debate is the gap between Florida's minimum wage and the federal minimum wage, which stands at $7.25 an hour. Federal rate hasn't changed since 2009. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. One Republican, Joe Gruters of Sarasota, was skittish on the bill. He urged Martin to restrict it only to workers 18 and younger, or have it apply only for a certain amount of time. "I'm going to vote for it today only because if I don't, this bill will die," said Gruters, a former chairman of the Republican Party of Florida and an ally of President Trump. But Martin insists the bill is needed to help prospective workers gain skills in an apprenticeship program they wouldn't otherwise be able to attain because business couldn't afford to hire at minimum wage. If we think that $13 an hour is what a bag boy at a grocery store should be making in rural Florida, I think we have a misconception of what's reasonable, or we're not relating it to the cost of goods and services anymore, he said. There you have it. There you have it. So labor markets are labor markets. And the restrictions and regulations we put on it. Cookie says at 16 years old, I was 5'9" and scored my entire school district. Though I was a chronic truant, I wanted a boyfriend. I don't know why you're trying to score with your whole school district. That's Cookie. I'm glad you cleaned your act up. I mean, that's not good behavior for a 16-year-old girl. So we've got an update 3.5 years later on the James O'Keefe FBI raid from 3.5 years ago, when they were searching for information on the leaker of Ashley Biden's diary. So here we got James O'Keefe here putting out this video today. Let's go ahead and hear what he has to say about the FBI raid on his home and offices. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. If that was loud for you folks, it was loud for me. I had to unplug the soundboard phone there. All right, let's hear what he has to say about this raid on his home and office.
So here you have it. 1 receipt for property, 2 iPhones returned to me some 3.5 years later.
Oh.
Unconstitutional raids against journalists. If it takes them this long to return your property to a newsroom, well, good luck on getting the Epstein list. So the FBI has returned my phones. I'm going to open up the package. This is a letter from the FBI Federal Bureau of Investigation, United States Department of Justice, receipt for property sent to my lawyer, Jeffrey Lichtman. Description of item: one iPhone 12 Pro Max, one
iPhone 12.
A1921. Printed name and title: Anthony Casola, Special Agent. That was the name of the FBI agent that was in my apartment. Anthony Casola is his name. Released to March 7th. It's now April, so it took a little while for it to get to me. And this is the receipt from the FBI from the
Wow.
raid. These are the two phones. I have not yet turned them on. They still have some charge in them. These are the two iPhones.
After 3.5
Open
years,
up the phone.
that means
it's-
someone at the FBI plugged
I
them
don't know if
in.
it's just going slow or it's just me. And if I go to the text message, last text message sent, that's April 6th, 2021.
April
See a couple
6th,
text messages here.
2021 text
One
messages
to Jesse Waters. Jesse Waters text.
from Jesse Waters.
Nothing after. There's one on the 6th. You look at the photos. Looks like we've got some photos here.
So it's 4 years, really.
I think the last message was November the 6th. That was the day after the raid. A screenshot sent the original Pancake House. I sent that to my lawyer who I was trying to meet with the day after the raid, but nothing after the 6th.
Wow. Okay, there you have it. James O'Keefe getting his phones back after 4 years of the FBI seizing them and then turning over the information they found on them to the New York Times, who was at the time embroiled in a lawsuit with him. This thing that says that they didn't have the mics and cameras recording since they had the phones. Yeah, that too. We need your phone so you can't record us doing illegal shit. All right, let's go back to the New York Post, but this time not for sex camp, not for pervert camp here. We're going to go back to the New York Times because we had a congressional committee hearing today in which a whistleblower has claimed Meta helped China develop advanced AI to outcompete American companies. Meta actively helped China in the race to develop AI as part of its failed effort to cozy up to Beijing, a former executive turned whistleblower said during a bombshell Senate hearing on Wednesday. Sarah Wynne Williams, who detailed her experience at Meta in scathing memoir Careless People, testified that she witnessed Mark Zuckerberg and other executives lie to Congress and repeatedly undermine U.S. national security and betray American values. During her opening statement, Wynne Williams, Facebook's former director of global public policy, told lawmakers that Meta began providing briefings to the Communist Party as early as 2015, while pursuing Project Aldrin, a secret effort to gain access to China's lucrative market. These briefings focused on critical emerging technologies, including AI, explicit goal being to help China outcompete American companies, said Wynne Williams, who worked at the social media giant from 2011 to 2017. There's a straight line you can draw from these briefings to the recent revelations that China is developing AI models for military use, relying on Meta's Llama model, she added. The hearing before the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime and Counterterrorism occurred after Meta obtained an emergency order barring Wynne Williams from promoting or publicly discussing her allegations against the company. Despite that effort, her book surged to the top of the bestseller list. Wynne Williams said Meta's AI Llama has contributed significantly to Chinese advances in AI technologies like DeepSeek, which sparked a U.S. tech sell-off earlier this year after releasing a model on par with American rivals that claims it cost less than $6 million to train. Quote, the greatest trick Zuckerberg ever pulled was wrapping the American flag around himself and calling himself a patriot and saying he didn't offer services in China while he spent the last decade building an $18 billion business there, said Wynne Williams. He continues to wrap the flag around himself as we move into the next era of AI. Meta saw the tech briefings with top-level Chinese officials as part of the value proposition it could offer to get into Beijing's good graces, according to Wynne Williams. The whistleblower also detailed her allegation that the company developed a censorship system in 2015 on behalf of the CCP that risked exposing the data of American users and agreed to block accounts in 2017 operated by Guo Wingge, self-exiled Chinese billionaire and dissident, after facing pressure from China. Committee Chair Josh Hawley, who Cookie gave a shout-out to earlier. Shout out to Josh Hawley. Cookie says, "Mild, retract your statement, or I may come and visit you." Yeah, she said. She scored higher on tests than the school district, not sex. So yeah, she wasn't banging the school district, just the basketball team. I'm just kidding. Josh Hawley accused Meta of trying to silence Wynne Williams, noting that she faces $50,000 in damages every time she mentions Facebook in public. Meta spokesman Andy Stone said the $50,000 figure is from the separation agreement that Wynne Williams signed and applies to any breach of contract, not just the disparagement clause. The company abandoned its efforts to enter the Chinese market in 2019. Stone said Wynne Williams' testimony is divorced from reality and riddled with false claims. While Zuckerberg himself was public about our interest in offering services in China, and details were widely reported beginning over a decade ago, the fact is this: we do not operate ourselves in China today, the spokesperson added. Hawley, who previously told the Post he would be looking for instances where Facebook had lied under oath to Congress about its China ties, said he's pursuing a full-scale investigation into the potential illegal behavior of Facebook. At one point during the hearing, Hawley referenced internal conversations in 2017 in which Facebook employees discussed taking down the dissident's account. Months later, a Facebook executive testified to the Senate that the action was taken through regular channels. Facebook received direct pressure from the Communist Party and bowed to it, and discussed internally to plan it, and then lied about it to Congress, Hawley said. Hawley suggested that Zuckerberg misled Congress about the extent of his communication with China, despite Wynne Williams' assertion that top executives were in regular contact with Beijing. He also signaled that Meta may have violated a 2012 consent decree with the FTC to protect the privacy of user data. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley said Facebook's effort to penalize Wynne Williams for going public can easily be abused to silence her. Elsewhere, Democrat Senator Richard Blumenthal, said it was disgusting and the height of hypocrisy for a supposed free speech champion like Mark Zuckerberg and Meta to use a campaign of threats and intimidation to silence you. The American people are going to be pretty outraged that Zuckerberg sold out America to China and that he imperiled our national security for a buck, Blumenthal added. In her memoir, Wynne Williams detailed examples of what she called a rotten company culture, reaching as high as Zuckerberg, COO Sheryl Sandberg, and top policy executive Joel Kaplan. The memoir alleged that Sandberg once spent $13,000 on lingerie for herself and a female assistant, and later invited Wynne Williams to, quote, come to bed during a long flight home from Europe, among other claims. All right. So there we go. There we go. Fun times. Cookie says Josh Hawley's my new crush, but he is married. I love his manness. Manness. Cookie wants to see my hair in a bun. I'm sorry, Cookie. I'm heterosexual. Okay, let's do this. So let's get into the Trump wins. Let's start with an appeals court ruling that Trump can once again fire probationary federal workers. Let's see. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals has vacated a lower court ruling ordering that 20 federal agencies reinstate tens of thousands of employees they fired. In a 2-1 decision, the appeals court said the Trump administration was likely to succeed in showing that the lower court lacked jurisdiction in the case, which was brought by 19 states and the District of Columbia. The court did not rule on whether the probationary firings were lawful. It's expected to consider the merits of the case in the coming weeks. The ruling comes a day after the Supreme Court vacated a different lower court ruling that ordered 6 federal agencies bring back fired employees. In an unsigned decision, the Supreme Court said the nonprofits that brought the case likewise lacked standing. Justices also did not rule on whether the firings were lawful. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals will consider the merits of that case in the coming weeks. The two decisions represent a significant setback for the states, the unions, and the civic organizations that sued the government in an effort to block the summary firings of more than 24,000 federal workers. So now they're just going to get into numbers and disagreements and stuff, but thank you, NPR, for that article. More Trump wins. More Trump wins. From the Financial Post, Trump targets weak showerheads that he's long complained about. This is from Bloomberg News. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order aimed at relaxing rules that limit water flow for showerheads. So those mandated low-flow showerheads that were put onto us by the Obama and Biden administrations are officially, now you can buy high-flow showerheads. Targeting an issue he's long complained makes it harder for him to properly wash his hair. The order ends water conservation standards that restrict the number of gallons per minute that are allowed to flow through showerheads, according to people familiar with the matter, detailed the action ahead of the signing. In my case, I would like to take a nice shower to take care of my beautiful hair for 15 minutes until it gets wet. Drip, drip, drip. Ridiculous, Trump said Wednesday in the Oval Office as he signed the order. What you do is you end up washing your hands 5 times longer so it's the same water, and we're going to open it up so people can live. According to a draft of the executive order, Americans pay for their own water and should be free to choose their shower heads without federal meddling. No longer will shower heads be weak and worthless, the draft adds. The rules were first put into place by former President Obama, rolled back by Trump during his first term, then reinstated by Joe Biden. Water pressure is a personal issue for Trump, who has long complained about the low-flow shower heads he says merely drip water, making it hard for him to wash his hair, and toilets that he said force people to flush 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once. The order was first reported by the Wall Street Journal. Cookie says, I'm censoring her, a black woman trying to survive among white supremacy. We have Alaskan Ballistics. Cheers and welcome. Good seeing you over there on Rumble. Have a good one. Have a good one. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. During Trump's first term, he ordered a federal review of water efficiency standards in bathroom fixtures. And by the way, still not banned here says, hey, it's a moose. Okay. I love moose. Alaskan Ballistic says moose are delicious. All right. Cookie says she loves messing with me. I'm hilarious. Let's see. His focus on toilet flushing prompting the hashtag #ToiletTrump to trend on social media. Regulations in place during the Obama administration enabled an average family to save $380 in water costs per year and save more than 17 gallons per day, the EPA said at the time. In February, Trump moves to ease energy efficiency standards for household appliances and fixtures. Conservative and allies and Trump have long bristled at environmentally conscious regulations aimed at reducing the country's water use, saying they end up wasting consumers' time and frustrating them. The president's moves to ease such efficiency standards, however, threaten to raise consumers' water and electric bills. The rules mandated in 1992 law signed by President George H.W. Bush have been backed by Consumer Reports and the Appliance Standards Awareness Project, an environmental group that has said the requirements prevent an enormous amount of wasted water as well as the energy needed to heat it. Shut Up I Can Cook says she wants some wild-caught seafood. I do not. I mean, yeah, I do. But I'm in the middle of the country, so by the time it would get to me, not too good. Not too good. So I'll wait till I travel. Here's what I have to say about the narrative about this. And this was actually a big issue for me when I ran for office. I was trying to become a state legislator, and this topic came up in a debate that I had with 6 other candidates. And I merely said, I was like, we're fucking adults. Like, at some point, like, instead of coddling to people being lazy, we need to just punish people for being lazy. Like, we're adults. We don't need automatic lights. We have fingers. We can hit the light switch. We don't need automatic sinks. We have hands. We can turn the sink on and off. And oh my God, if you've been following me on X for any amount of time, by the way, shout out to my social media links down in the description. Feel free to follow me. If you've been following me on X for any amount of time, you'll know that from time to time I will post complaining about public restroom sinks. Because not only is the water always fucking ice cold, like, depending on the sink, like either it's too weak like Trump's complaining about, or it's way too much pressure. Sorry, my hair's bothering me. My hair sticking out the side of my headphones on camera has been bothering me for a minute. And it just gets me because, like, you stick your hand under the thing, the sensor half the time doesn't even detect your hands under there. Did you see LTT's bids on light switches? They were gold. Excuse me, by the way, didn't mean to burp into the microphone. LTT, no, I'm not familiar. But I imagine they were gold. And definitely, I would like to hear other people's takes on this. Because, to be frank, the fact that we have to set everything automatic because we have animals who live amongst us, disguised as humans, who can't be bothered to turn a light switch on or off, or turn a sink on or off, or not clog the fucking sink up with paper towels and shit like that. People's bathroom behaviors and office behaviors in professional settings is just outrageous. And, you know, these are probably the same people who yell at their kids for, you know, fucking with the thermostat at home. Cookie wants to catch Sanglant again. All right, so let's go to another Trump win. Why don't we? Let's go to another Trump win. Trump administration cancels $1.5 million in funding for Maine prisons over transgender policy. Now, you may remember we covered on this show Trump interacting with the different governors of the states, and there was a little interaction between Trump and the governor of Maine about the Maine, whether or not Maine would follow Trump's executive order on transgenders. And here we go. Trump administration says it's canceling $1.5 million in federal money for state prisons in Maine over one of the state's trans policies. A spokesperson for the Department of Justice confirmed it was cutting 3 grant cuts in the latest dust-up between Maine and the Trump administration. The Department of Justice will continue pulling discretionary funds from institutions that promote these invasions of women's spaces and will use legal leverages to compel Maine leadership to remedy this dangerous issue, a spokesperson said in an email to CBS 13. In an interview with Fox News, Pam Bondi referenced Maine's policies allowing trans inmates to be housed in a prison that aligns with their gender identity after a review. She alluded to a murder case in Windham. The transgender inmate in that case is now housed in a women's correctional facility. A giant 6'1", 245-pound guy who committed a double murder with a knife stabbed his parents to death and the family dog, and he identified as a woman, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said in an interview on Fox. So they were letting him be housed in a female prison, will no longer. Bondi is alluding to Andrea Balser. When Balser was a teen, it murdered its parents and dog, saying it snapped and feared her parents wouldn't accept their transition, and is now serving a 40-year sentence in prison. When Balser was first incarcerated, he was housed in the Main Street prison. After transitioning, now housed in the Women's Center in Windham. The Maine Department of Corrections had a policy since 2015 stating that barring any risk to safety or management and a medical and psychological review, inmate housing placement shall be consistent with the gender identity of the resident. It's a policy praised by trans advocates who said housing trans in men's prisons puts those inmates at risk. Yeah. Housing a male murderer in a female prison is not just from a failure of common sense, but a direct violation for the safety of women, Beth Peralto, Independent Women's senior legal advisor, said in a written statement. Trump administration is now pulling 3 grants for the Department of Corrections, writing its termination notice that the grants no longer align with the department's goals. One of them focuses on supporting family engagement between incarcerated parents and young children. Another works to improve the supervision of people in prison and on parole. The third funds substance use disorder treatment plans for inmates. The Maine Department of Corrections says it's still evaluating the impacts of these cuts. We got Kinesi over on Rumble. Cheers and welcome. Good seeing you. Howdy. And Alaskan Blisket says, yeah, maybe they should have given a different sentence. Yeah, you're going to murder your parents. Yeah, you probably deserve to go to the chair, not to a women's facility there. And look, all this down here bullshit that I skipped of trans women experience extreme levels of harassment and violence, including sexual violence in men's prisons. Cry me a fucking river. Maybe don't murder your parents. And putting you in with people who are even more vulnerable to violence. Trusting you, who already murdered people, to not be violent to a more vulnerable group than you. And so this is what we're left with. And again, this is the same thing with all of these trans issues, with the sports thing we talked about earlier, with the prisons thing here. We have an either or solution here. An either or solution. Either we put them in men's prisons or we put them in women's prisons. Oh, Kinesi raided the stream. We have a Kinesi raid. Oh my gosh. Okay, I got to plug back in the sound effects. I don't even know if you folks can hear the sound effects, because I don't know if my mixer's working right. Everything just appears to not be working exactly at the time I need it to work tonight. So let's do this. What do we got? We got... Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, we got Kinesi raid. Cheers and welcome to those who raided the stream. All right. Let's see. Okay, we're just a few viewers away from being able to do an ad read. So tell your friends, tell your family, come watch Mild's Culture Plate. We've got a cool show going on today. Okay, and while we're talking about the Trump administration and the pronoun group here, we've got the Trump White House reportedly won't reply to reporters who have their pronouns in their email tags. The White House will no longer respond to employers or reporters who list their preferred gender pronouns in their email signatures because they ignore scientific realities. It is official White House policy to ignore reporters' emails with pronouns in the signature, the Trump War Room account announced on X, confirming anecdotal instances of press getting a brush off. The official account then added a statement from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying she doesn't respond to journalists who use pronouns as it shows they ignore scientific realities and therefore facts. As a matter of policy, we do not respond to reporters with pronouns in their bios, Leavitt confirmed to the New York Times. Department of DOJ spokeswoman Kate Miller also replied to a Times reporter that she would not answer questions due to a pronoun in their signature. This applies to all reporters who have a pronoun in their signature, Miller said. The use of pronouns in emails and social media biographies proliferated in recent years as a way to show solidarity with transgender and non-binary people who may prefer to be addressed as a they, them, or other non-traditional formulations such as Zaire. Trump administration has policy recognized only 2 genders. Let's see. Cookie wants to run for Grand Wizard. Oh, Sanglant sent me a summary of the videos. Okay, here, let me open that up on a good watch when I sleep. Okay. That's tech tips. Okay, cool. Yeah. There we go. Got that queued up. I'll try to catch that later. Okay, what are Cookie's pronouns? I'd say tally and ho. Still not banned here. Says wow, incredible. Cookie says Sanity's returned to the USA. Alaskan ballistics sounds like a good thing. And still not banned here says yeah, make a run for Grand Wizard, Cookie. Yes, yes. All right, let's do this. Okay, let's get into some of the videos. Well, actually, before we do, one last Trump win. One last Trump win here. Let's go. See, this is in the trending over on X. Sangla says crunchy and chewy. Kenesi says, why the military ever went this route is beyond comprehension. None of that BS has anything to do with defending our nation. Yeah, I won't even get started on the implications on the military and all the was it the commanders that were dressed like fetish dogs and stuff. Ugh. So here we go. For one of the trending topics on X is White House post sparked public debate. On April 9th, the White House official social media account posted 2 messages that sparked widespread discussion and reaction online. The first message stated, "Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded," while the second message included the phrase, "Let him cook," accompanied by a fire emoji. These posts elicited a range of responses from the public, with many expressing confusion, belief, and criticism over the tone and content from an official government account. So here we have, "Let him cook," and then "Do not retaliate, you will be rewarded." And I wanted to bring this up because, yes, do not retaliate and you will be rewarded. Well, now we kind of see what that's about. Because Trump has rescinded most of the retaliatory tariffs, except for China. And the way I'm understanding this is he's suspending the tariffs temporarily in order for these countries to get their shit together and come to the negotiating table. Because these are the countries, most of the countries that he suspended are countries that have said they would like to negotiate their way out of this. Whereas China doubled down and instituted retaliatory tariffs. So when they say, "Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded," that's what it's referring to. The one country that retaliated, Trump doubled down on. Everyone else, he gave a little bit of a reprieve, a temporary reprieve, as kind of a warning. Let's see. We got Cookie and Sanglan arguing here. Sanglan hiding from me, and Sanglan saying, "I don't do YouTube. See you in Nick's chat when he gets streaming again." Yeah, you won't see me there. I'm sorry. I will not support that person again. I cooked some delicious chickpeas, almost gone. Cool. Still Not Banned here says, crazier. I remember so long ago people told me this was coming. The wokeness. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it started cracking through in 2014. 2012, 2013, and then 2014 you had Gamergate and all that shit going on. But anyway, the reason I wanted to bring this up is I wanted you to see some of the memes that came out of the "Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded" here. We got we got people questioning, what the fuck, who's running this account? Okay. So here you got, "Do not retaliate and you will be rewarded." And then you got this. You got Bane. Do not retaliate, and you will be rewarded. You got Captain Picard as the Borg commander. Do not retaliate, and you will be rewarded. You got Mars Attacks. Do not retaliate, and you will be rewarded. Whatever the fuck this is, I don't even know what that is. Oh God. So yeah, they're implying it's something a villain would say, and no, I think it's good strategy. And like Cookie says, Trump, keep up the good work. I think today was a good thing. I've been arguing with several people on X today about the labor markets and about the effects of international trade. I guess there was a story where, or I guess Mr. Beast took to social media and was like, well, this means it's cheaper for me to just make my chocolate bars somewhere else because I can't import the raw goods I need to then export it. So I'll just make my chocolate bars in another country and sell them there. Like, okay, bye, Mr. Beast. Have fun with that. We got plenty of chocolatiers here in America. Go fucking do that. Peace out. Oh, Kanizi said that was for Mad Max Fury Road or Furiosa. Okay, cool. So among the crazy conversations about labor, if you caught the social media announcement of this stream, you'll notice I posted an AI image of myself working in a sweatshop. And that was in relation to this video that was put out by Chinese propagandists of American workers working in sweatshops. Let me turn that down a little bit because we don't necessarily need to hear the music. But this is their fantasy of Americans doing sweatshop work labor. Because, if we don't have China giving us cheap goods, if we don't have Asian and brown people taking care of our slave labor, then us fatties, us comfortable white people will have to do it. Hang on real quick. I got another sinus issue. Let me just take care of that real quick. So yeah, if we don't take care and we lose our free trade with slave nations, then us lazy Americans won't be able to do those jobs. And I'm going to tell you, look, I don't think Americans are too lazy to do it. And here's the thing, most of the jobs like you saw in that video, those jobs are going to be mostly automated. Cookie says, me and Ann Coulter, the two sane people brave enough to say no more women in the Supreme Court. I'm not going to get into that. Look, the Supreme Court definitely, there was a 5-4 ruling about the immigration issue this week. And I'm actually shocked that John Roberts didn't side with the rest of the women. I really am. Kanizi said, I've applied to work at jobs like these in the past. I have no problem building things for a living. Yeah, exactly. Most Americans don't have a problem with it. And now, of course, Rumble Studio. My damn chat is stuck. Cookie's chat's stuck on the screen. It won't let me move it. All right, so here's what we'll do. We'll move on to Jasmine Crockett, who also had some opinions about Americans doing the labor that they don't necessarily want to do. And yeah, it's just about as racist as you could imagine. Oh, and of course, now it won't let me bring it up. I'm going to have to refresh my Rumble Studio. Please hang in there with me for just a second. All right. Am I here? There I am. Okay. But now I've lost the rest of the chat. So if you said something while I was refreshing, please say it again. Okay, so let's get into Jasmine Crockett here. Cookie says Jasmine Hoodrat. All right. In fact, I saw a comment earlier that made me spit out my water. It said, somebody said that Jasmine Crockett is the black Kamala Harris. I lost it. I fucking lost it. Anyway, here we go.
So I had to go around the country and educate people about what immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
The fact is, ain't none of y'all trying to go and farm right now.
I am. I'll farm.
Okay, so I'm lying. Raise your hands.
Yep. I will totally grow some food.
You're not.
Oh, no.
Not.
I am. I'll
We
grow
done
some
picking
food.
cotton.
We done picking cotton. Now, look. Mind you, it's the same. It's people like this who have been saying for the past couple decades now, like, whatever happened to our 40 acres and a mule that we never got as reparations? You know, whatever happened to the 40 acres and a mule we were supposed to get? Well, what the fuck do you think you were supposed to do if you had gotten the 40 acres and a mule? That was wealth. That was your ability to create an industry on your property. And now you're saying, we done picking cotton. We ain't farming. We ain't trying to farm. Well, what are you trying to do other than leech off the taxpayers and apparently Baptist churches? This was set at a church anniversary program. And essentially become famous for, yes, turning our... Cookie wants to know where her 40 acres are. It's yes, she's definitely the black Kamala Harris.
We are. You can't pay us enough to find a plantation.
I know that's right.
So I...
And someone in the audience, I know that's right. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. You don't say. You don't have the ability to do the work. Okay. But let me just say, it's not just black folks. It's not just black folks. It's not just congresswomen. It's not just far leftists. I ran across this next video on X, and this is the mentality that people like Jasmine Crockett and people like the Chinese AI people, this is the kind of mentality that we're trying to get away from in America, but seems to have such a grasp on the majority of low-income normies who just can't seem to break out of the fog of whatever type of life they're living. And I have empathy for these people, but then they film it and put it on the internet and think that they're smart or they have a point. Well, let's listen to this story's tale about the way she was treated at the dollar store.
I'm hyperventilating, y'all. I just had the most
Hyperventilating. Because you need to lose weight. You need to lose some weight. Please lose weight and just breathe better, and then you wouldn't need to hyperventilate. Anyway, here we go.
embarrassing 1 hour ordeal in
1 hour.
Dollar Tree ever.
1 hour. 1 hour at the Dollar Tree with this situation. Like, if I'm in a situation that embarrasses me, I'm leaving after like 5 minutes. Like, I'm not going to stand there Like, what the fuck?
$55 to spend on groceries this week. That's it. And we get
$55 to spend on groceries this week. And she says we, so I'm assuming this is her and her children.
EBT.
And we get EBT. Hang on, let me replay that. Let me try, because as she's talking, I tried to do the math before. I'm trying to do it again in my head, so I want to be very clear about what she's saying here.
I had $55 to spend on groceries this week.
I have $55 to spend on groceries this week.
That's it. And we get EBT.
And we get EBT. And we get EBT. So you got $55 cash that's yours, and you get EBT. Okay, here we go.
I've always been the person that is slightly embarrassed about getting EBT because it has such a bad rap.
Yes, legitimately. And you should be. Yes to all of those things. And yeah, you should. Yes.
People always feel like you don't work. My husband and I work full fucking time.
Oh my. So how many kids do you have then? Why can't 2 40-hour? I mean, most states have an over $10 an hour minimum wage. I understand rents are going up, rents are fucking high as hell. But why? What, like 2 full-time jobs? I mean, what the fuck are you buying that you've only got $55 left out of your budget? Anyway, so let's.
And if we didn't get EBT, we wouldn't fucking be eating. So I said that to say, if you're gonna fix your fucked up ass lips to make a derogatory comment about taxpayers' money paying for my groceries, move the fuck on, because I will read you like a book.
I mean, so again, you're embarrassed, and now because you have the power of your own social media account or whatever. Yeah, no, I'm not moving on. I'm here using you as content on my social media account. So now, how does that power exchange work now?
Anyway, of my $55 budget, I spent $19 and did a Walmart delivery to my house for juice and eggs and water. I had $33.97 left, and I decided these kids have to eat regardless. So I'm going to go to Dollar Tree and grab whatever essentials I can.
Okay, hang on. I got to hear that one more time.
Juice and eggs and water. Anyway, of my $55 budget, I spent $19 and did a Walmart delivery to my house.
$19 on Walmart delivery.
For juice and eggs and water.
Juice, eggs, and water. $19 for juice, eggs, water, and I'm assuming a delivery fee to get Walmart delivered to her house, even though she's making this video in her vehicle that she could have driven to Walmart and made those purchases.
$33.97 left. And
$33.97 left.
I decided these kids have to eat regardless. So I'm going to go to Dollar Tree and grab whatever essentials I can.
These kids need to eat regardless. You were just at a Walmart that presumably had some sort of salad, groceries, maybe some produce. And you said, well, no, my kids have to eat, so I'm going to go to Dollar Tree? Dollar Tree, the one that sells like knickknacks and pins and like balloons and like paper towels and forks and cups and like phone chargers. And then like they have a little aisle with like some off-brand high sugar fucking junk food and a freezer section full of shit that's pumped with preservatives. This was your idea to leave Walmart, to not get the Walmart delivery of lettuce or, God forbid, bell peppers or green beans. No, we got to eat at Dollar Tree. I'm feeding my kids Dollar Tree. Lady, see a nutritionalist, please.
to last us until next week when we get EBT again. It'll be fine. I get to the register and I wanted them to tender $33.97 on EBT so I could pay the remainder on my card, which was $21.96. The cashier is a young girl. She's alone, and the line is to the back of the fucking store. And this is where the embarrassment comes in, because I told her, I said, I only have $33.97 on my EBT card. And she said, well, swipe your card, your total's $52, and the EBT will just come off. But that's not how it works if there's not enough money on the card. So I said, well, you have to tender it for.
I mean, it is though. It kind of is. It will charge, from what I understand, it's like a gift card. It does the same thing as a gift card. I have a pay card that my job gives me for uniforms. It sees the amount on there and just deducts it and then says, here's how much you still owe in cash. It literally does work that way.
For a specific amount, and she says there's no option for that. So she says, swipe your card. So I do. And it declines, and she tells me, sorry, there's nothing I can do. So I politely, because at this point, everybody is staring at me, I ask her, can she call the manager? Don't know why, but the manager doesn't speak any English, only Spanish. And I, unfortunately, do not speak Spanish. She doesn't understand what we're trying to tell her.
Unfortunately, do not speak Spanish.
So for some reason, the cashier decides she's going to tender $33.96 in cash. She has me swipe my EBT, and it goes through for $21.96.
Because now you've demanded her to do something she's not used to doing, and now she's literally just pushing buttons on the register trying to get you to go away, because you have now spent more time. Like, at some point, it should have occurred to you that she just doesn't know what she's doing, and this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to work. No, you kept insisting that she try things to make it work. And instead of going to another dollar store or going to another location or going to the Walmart that you had to get delivery from, you decided to make this poor young lady's life a living hell. And granted, don't get me wrong, if she was trained improperly, she was trained improperly. But at that point in time, demanding she do something about her own improper training is not going to fix the problem.
96. In the meantime, everyone is staring at me because the line cannot move. And so the cashier starts saying, my register is going to be short $33.97. My register is going to be short $33.97 because she didn't pay the $33.97. Yeah, well, what happened to your $33 nobody told you to put $33.97 in cash, baby. I didn't ask you to give me my groceries for free. Go back and forth, and the manager, not speaking any English, does not want to hear me. She just keeps talking over me. Finally, a Spanish-speaking customer starts translating for us, and no matter what, this manager did not understand, and the whole fucking store is staring at me like I'm a pitiful loser and making comments under their breath.
Because it's fucking Dollar Tree. First off, you're $33 worth of shit at Dollar Tree. What the fuck were you buying? Like, I already know the answer. You were stocking up on those little shitty $1 frozen pizzas for a family of like 5. You were getting enough shitty frozen pizzas for 5 people to have dinner like for 3 nights, weren't you? Like shitty frozen pizzas and shitty frozen burritos. You were gonna feed that to your whole family for like 5 nights. That's the only way you spend $33 at the fucking dollar store. And the idea that someone at Dollar Tree, like, no, I need to do a split payment because I don't have enough on this card or this card to pay for the whole thing. That's not something that Dollar Tree cashiers are used to. They're used to, oh, you're spending $7? Yeah, we'll ring that right up. And usually people don't have a problem scraping together $7 to pay for whatever the hell they're buying at Dollar Tree. You spent $33 on food at Dollar Tree. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Some of it was probably food, but some of it was probably cheap fucking plastic, toxic, painted toys for your kids or something. This did not need to be this embarrassing. Like, you put yourself in this situation, and then, like I said earlier, then you refuse to leave. You refuse to just get yourself out of the situation. You insisted the cashier keep going, and now you're crying on the internet about how embarrassed you were?
Saying stuff because it looks like I'm causing this big fucking scene, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I hate to be the center of attention. I really do, guys. I know that I'm on here with 12,000 fucking followers, but I hate to be the center of attention. Finally, the manager says
12,000 fucking followers. You're telling me this chick has 12,000 fucking followers on her social media? What the fuck am I doing wrong? Do I need to bust out the fake titties again? Cause her saggy fucking milk bags are really attracting that many more followers than whatever I fucking possibly could. 12,000 followers. What the fuck did she go viral with other than this crybaby shit?
that she's going to refund everything, and then she's going to recharge me. I said, okay, fine. She refunds me, but she doesn't refund my EBT, the $21.96. Instead, she refunds it all to my card. So now I paid $21.96 off my EBT, but I don't get that back. And she charges me again. So I just paid $80-something. Almost.
But no, she charged you. Then she gave you more money back than what you initially had on the card. Then she charged you again. That brings it back to zero. That just means you paid for the items.
$90 for $55 worth of groceries. So I essentially paid almost twice for my groceries because Dollar Tree does not train their fucking employees the right way.
You literally didn't. She took the money from your EBT, put it back on your bank card instead of the EBT card. Then she charged your bank card for it. That brings it back to zero. Am I insane here? Yes, exactly, Kineasy. People like this is one of the major reasons I won't work retail. Folks, we need people to work retail jobs, but dealing with this kind of behavior is definitely, it makes it stressful. And I am one of the people that's like, yeah, no, we need to be paying our fast food workers and retail workers more. The one caveat I have is, yet the motherfuckers need to be able to pass a goddamn drug test. Because, again, this lady could be right about 30% of this story. Like, the other 70% is bullshit. But about 30% of this story I kind of believe, because these cashiers and these fast food workers come to work high all the fucking time and don't know what the fuck they're doing. And so that much I'll give her. Like the chick just didn't know how to ring it up and do separate transactions. Okay, she wasn't trained properly, or maybe she was trained properly and just was too stoned to remember or didn't give a fuck. So we need to do drug tests on all employees of every fucking where. And I don't care if you're pro marijuana. I will to the death. You shouldn't go to work high. You should not go to work high, period. Anyway, Kineasy, I'd rather pick cotton than go back to working retail. Yes, there we go. That's a good. This is a we're solving America's problems here on Mild's Culture Plate. Thank you, Kineasy. Yes, Jasmine Crockett can go work retail, and maybe this woman can be a Texas congressperson. I don't know. We'll get it figured out, though. We'll get it figured out. Let's listen to the last bit of her story here.
Eternally fucking embarrassed.
And you're doubling down on the embarrassment by taking to the internet with it. Okay. So, yeah, it doesn't look like we ever reached the minimum number of viewers to do an ad read. Oh, shit. Wrong button. So, yeah. For our final story today, we're going back to Congress. As, Cookie was saying about women, congresswomen. We've had this other debate going on in the U.S. House of Representatives about allowing remote voting for Congress members with children. notably women. And we have Brittany Peterson of Colorado, who has been one of the most outspoken ones on this issue, decided she would bring her baby to work and while debating this issue in Congress. Cookie says Mild only likes Sanglant. Anyway, so yeah, bringing a baby to the floor. Oh, still not banned here. Says me too on the picking cotton. Cookie says fast food workers need more money. No upscale your skills. And Cookie says Kinesy's lying. Kinesy says I've actually picked cotton, corn, carrots, etc. on a large farm in 2009 to 2011. Sangler says make sure they're paying you enough to buy gloves. Cotton has those needle-like things that cause sores. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, a good pair of gloves is very important. I spend a way more money than I should on gloves, and I even get gloves provided to me by my job, and I still go out and buy my own because, yeah, I want better shit. Anyway, let's hear what this chick has to say about how hard it is to be a mother and a congresswoman at the same time.
I understand that my colleague, Representative Luna, has done everything she can to try to find a path forward. And this is ultimately...
Oh, yeah, Republican Anna Paulina Luna has also been outspoken about this. So, yeah, it's bipartisan because, let's face it, conservative, this is another conversation that's been happening on Twitter, on X, is whether or not conservative women are feminists. And there's been this whole, yeah, anyway. Stay off of X sometimes, folks, because every time I go on there, it's race wars and gender wars and debates about stupid stuff. But if you do go to X, feel free to follow me. Social media links are down in the description of this video. So
ultimately the only option that existed at the end. But this does not address the real barriers that people will continue to face. This would be the last week that I could have been home, still working in my district, working as a member of Congress and representing my constituents, but making sure that I was not traveling across the country with my son. Do you think that there would be one Republican here today that would stand and vote present on the bills this week coming forward on my behalf? I don't think so. This is why this is...
Okay, so what she's referring to is there's this, they call it a dead man, live man negotiation, to where if you cannot be at Congress, you can find someone who would have voted opposite of you and ask them to abstain from voting as well. And so now she's saying, do you think there's one Republican I could have approached who would have been willing to abstain from voting or vote present to cancel out what would have been my pro-vote or anti-vote? And she's saying, no, I don't trust Republicans enough to keep their word. That's what she's saying. Anyway, let's continue to listen to her.
This is why this is not a workable solution. This is not going to address when people are unable to be here for medical reasons and for the well-being of their kid after giving birth. And so while I appreciate trying to find whatever common ground we can, this is not a deal. This does not solve our problem, and the work continues.
Okay, Kinezy says, as much as congressmen and women get paid, she can't get a nanny. I don't believe her. We have a congressional daycare. We literally pay for a congressional daycare. This is literally Sarah Jacobs, Anna Paulina Luna, and Brittany Peterson crying because they don't want to have to go to work that they were voted to do by their constituents. And she frames it as, well, I wanted to be able to go back and work for my constituents in my district. Well, that's not how it works when Congress is in session. If you're a lawmaker, and your lawmaking body is in session, you go to work. You have the whole rest of the year. When you're not in session, you have that amount of time you could be doing work in your district. And this brings up a bigger discussion about conservative women and feminism and women in professional settings versus the idea of motherhood. I don't think it's a gender discrimination issue to say that your ability to procreate, if it has to take away from your career ladder, so to speak, if it has to take away from you being able to do your job, that's the trade-off you get biologically. That's your choice to make. That's not society's duty to come coddle you and rescue you. Cookie says, just listen to Ann Coulter on women in politics. And then she wants to destroy Congress because of hate of white men. And Kinesi says, yeah, I forgot about the daycare at the Capitol. Yeah, I need great gloves, yes. Look, I've got no issue with women entering the workplace, but they have to be able to do the job that is being asked of them, especially if what is being asked of you is to represent a district of thousands of people in the United States Congress and vote on the most important issues that affect millions of people across the country. You're deciding you are supposed to be the problem solvers. And here you are for 2 weeks crying about this issue, crying about your problems instead of solving your constituents' problems. Bringing your damn baby to the floor of the House of Representatives, using it as a prop to cry that you didn't get your way. When you could have just, taken your baby to the daycare at the Capitol or hired your own nanny. And God knows, even beyond the salaries that congressmen and women get, half of you mofos are involved in insider trading and the like. You can afford it. And I'm sure you've definitely got someone in your life who you made that baby with that can kind of help pay for these things. It's not your constituents' problem. It's not taxpayers' problem. It's not the Speaker of the House's problem, even though I don't like that guy very much either. Cookie says, or Mild says, or Cookie says, Mild, I was mocked by women and men decades ago when I said I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife and mother, and then says, white women hate you guys, see the late 60s. Yeah, I did see someone make a comment about something like it's not 1950 anymore in regards to this kind of shit. And I'm like, okay, Civil Rights Act stuff aside, like the 1950s, oh, you mean when we had one income that was able to support entire families with the house, the mortgage, the dog, the car, a whole family with 2 children? Like, one income was able to do that. You had, you could go to the mall or go to a shopping district and not have to worry about getting stabbed, right? You could take an exit off a highway without a crackhead junkie coming up to your window asking you for a cigarette or for $1. I mean, I'm not saying I like everything about 1950. But you folks say, oh, it ain't 1950 anymore. Like that's a good thing. The same people have spent all week crying about the stock market. The same people who, by the way, 10 years ago were saying, Occupy Wall Street. Wall Street's bad. And now, oh my God, my Wall Street. Come on. Cookie saying, I'm hungry and now my chickpeas are gone. Well, get more chicks to pee. Sanglet says you could buy a soda for less than 50 cents. Yep. Cookie says, when women are beautiful and we had a wonderful man at home. Yeah. So that's going to be my closing message of the show today is, folks, we could make a new 1950 if we want. It doesn't have to be full of racism and hatred for one another. It doesn't have to be separate Woolworths counters or whatever. We could have conservative values. We could have families. We could have an industry in this country. If we just believe that we can. If we just believe that we can be further than falling into our sexual urges and our financial wants, and realize that Dollar Tree is poison. We could have those things if we really wanted to. And I know the people watching this show and the people who, have decided to turn off the TV and listen to things like other creators here on Rumble. I know you folks are already on the path to get back there. And I think the more we spread the word, the more we talk amongst ourselves and amongst our peers, the more people will realize how fucked up they fucked it up. Cookie doesn't want me to cuss. I'm sorry. Anyway, so thank you for stopping by, folks. Again, feel free to hit all the social media down in the description. I will be back on Rumble tomorrow over on my gaming channel as I continue moving through Act 2 of Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot of it's a learning curve, but I'll be doing that over on my gaming channel tomorrow. Links down in the description over on Rumble and on Twitch. 1950 price of a hamburger, fries, and soda at McDonald's was 15 cents for the burger, 10 cents for the fries, and 10 cents for the soda. The cost of other items in 1950 included a house for $7,150. I mean, growth happens. Inflation is a natural part of the growth process, because as the economy grows, the money supply grows, and prices are going to go up. The problem with America is we've had this weird thing where the inflation has grown, but the quality of jobs and the wages have stagnated because we've ran off our manufacturing base and our farming base and pretty much everything that actually generated wealth in this country. We've decided, again, brown people and Asian people need to be doing that work, that we're too good for it. Anyway, folks, so yes, I will see you next time. Come back here, Mild's Culture Plate, 6 p.m. Central every Wednesday and Saturday, and a little bit of Mondays as well, as we do our Rumble Premium only show on Mondays. Gonna try my best to hit those new Rumble Creator Program goals, but that means I gotta have 200 watch time hours from our fellow community here on Rumble. So definitely, if you could help me just share out a link every once in a while when I'm live on Wednesday or Saturday, get a few more viewers in, we'll hit that goal in no time. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. Kinesi, Cookie, Still Not Banned here, Alaskan. Cheers to all of you. Sanglant, good seeing y'all. Let's see, did I miss anybody? I'm sure I did. I'm sure I missed somebody. Anyway, Cheers to all y'all. And those of you who aren't chatting or who are watching this later on demand, big cheers to you all as well. Love my on-demand listeners. Feel free to leave a comment down in the description. Let me know you were by here. And yes, hit the like button, subscribe, follow. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell for notifications so you know when I'm live this Saturday. And yeah, all the good stuff. Share me out, do all that stuff. And please click that like button. Like button's most important though. Gotta love grinding on that thumb. Grind on that thumb until it's pregnant with a little thumb. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. Outlast those. You know what? Let's find somebody to raid. I don't use the raid feature enough. Let's see. Who can we raid? Tim Pool's live right now, but I'm not going to raid him. He has enough viewers. Let's go to page 4. Yeah, now we're in the double digit. Should I raid Megan Fox? The journalist Fox? I think I'll raid the journalist Megan Fox. She's doing her fucking court stream thing. All right, so let's do that. So again, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, outlast those haters, don't get any on you, and if you do, rub that shit in real good. I'll catch you next time on Miles Culture Plate. See you this weekend, everybody. Good night.